Good afternoon and thank you. I'm David Bossie. I'm president of Citizens United. And it's been a big year for Citizens United as we celebrate our 25th anniversary. And it's great to be back here at CPAC as we come together for our 40th time. As you may know, Citizens United has run the CPAC Theater for the last many years. And we're doing it again this year, very excited about it, where we get a chance to show off some of the groundbreaking conservative films available today. Conservatives really need to think of new and innovative ways to develop and deliver our message to a broad audience. And one of those ways is through film. Now, fellow conservatives, I'm going to talk bluntly here today about where I see the conservative movement going. Yes, we took some hits last fall, but the conservative movement is as strong as ever. Your voices are being heard here in this hall and across the nation because we are fighting for our God-given rights and the traditional American values we all share. We believe in American exceptionalism, not Obama's socialist agenda. Now, unfortunately, some in the Republican establishment are trying to divide us. We as a movement simply cannot let that happen. Contrary to what some in the establishment want you to believe, conservatives want to win every election. But we are not willing to sell out our principles for the sake of a win. Rhinos will hide behind us and use our movement to get elected and then feign shock when conservatives call them out for bad policy. You know, long ago, Ronald Reagan cemented our core values with his three-legged stool analogy. The conservatism stands for free enterprise, strong national defense, and pro-family social policies. My friends, if you take away one leg of the stool crumbles. If we sell out our principles, then the conservative movement is simply a rudderless ship. Those in the establishment who claim that they know how to win are simply living a lie. Just look at the past two presidential campaigns. How did that work out for the establishment? Only in 2010, when our conservative grassroots were fully mobilized, hand in hand with the Tea Party, did we prevail. Now, last month, the battle lines were drawn when Karl Rove and company announced through the New York Times of all places that they were forming the so-called Conservative Victory Project. The Conservative Victory Project is nothing more than an attempt by the establishment to control the conservative movement. Calling it the Conservative Victory Project is like Mitt Romney coming to CPAC last year and saying he was a severe conservative. Karl Rove claims he just wants to win. Well, why does Karl and company think they have a monopoly on wanting to win? We all want to win. Why does Karl Rove need to create a new organization with the name conservative in it? Because American Crossroads failed in 2012. That's why. Sure, did some conservative candidates lose in 2012 because they made huge mistakes? Absolutely. But it would take me all day to list the names of the lackluster establishment candidates who lost simply because they didn't run bold conservative campaigns. Now, I like Karl. He's a smart guy. He's a smart strategist, and I respect him for that. But Karl Rove is no movement conservative. He's been called the architect, and I understand why. And he guided President Bush to his second-term victory. But in reality, Karl Rove and George Bush were the architects of policy disasters that led to President Bush being mired in 30% approval ratings for much of his second term. Those low approval ratings hurt the Republican and conservative brands and brought us President Barack Obama and Obamacare. It's kind of the opposite of a permanent Republican majority, you might say. Of course, there is a way for us to come together and unite for common purpose. But conservatives will not be bullied into throwing our beliefs out the window. In 2010, President Obama and his socialist policies showed us that he was a unifying force for conservatives. We must make Obama that again in 2014. Friends, President Obama, in his second inaugural address, all but declared war on the conservative movement. It took him 4 years, but finally the real Barack Obama, the one we all knew, exposed himself as an unabashedly liberal ideologue for all to see. The moderate myth that Obama portrayed, aided openly by his friends in the mainstream media, that he was a transformational leader who transcended politics, is a complete and utter charade. The soaring rhetoric from his keynote address at the 2004 Democrat Convention was replaced by a deeply partisan campaign speech in the guise of his second inaugural. One just has to take a look at when President Obama said during his inaugural address, and I quote, "Preserving our individual freedoms ultimately requires collective action." Now, ladies and gentlemen, collective action is a phrase that Khrushchev or Castro would say in front of their poor and starving citizens. The Obama campaign team knew that in 2008, they could not get elected as a full-throated liberal. So they created the myth that Obama could reach across the party lines, work to improve Washington, and drain the swamp. Well, folks, over the last 4 years, the only thing Barack Obama's drained is our national treasury. During our current fiscal battles, like sequester, President Obama has gone to great lengths to deceive and lie about the real consequences of sequestration. From teacher furloughs to longer airport lines to criminals running free, the Obama administration has blatantly lied to the American people. They have even closed the White House for public tours. Remarkably, the many false claims from the White House have even prompted some in the mainstream media to push back. One of the reasons why the White House thought it could get away with it was because the mainstream media has always been in their back pocket since day one. You just have to look at all of the Obama scandals, with the latest being the tragedy where 4 brave Americans died in Benghazi, were murdered in Benghazi, to see the media's complacency. The Obama administration has not been forthcoming with information on Benghazi, and Congress has simply failed in its oversight responsibilities. Citizens United recently launched a campaign calling on members of Congress to create a select committee to investigate fully the Benghazi tragedy. You know, it's been over 30 years since Jimmy Carter's presidency that a United States ambassador has been killed overseas. And now, 6 months after Benghazi, there are more questions than answers. It is vitally important for Speaker Boehner to support and the House to pass House Resolution 36 to provide accountability and transparency to the American people and the families of those heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice. Now, 2014 is a vitally important election for the future of America. It is important that we elect conservatives now, or moderates will break on important issues like the Second Amendment, immigration, and Obamacare. Obama and Biden are shamelessly using the tragedy of Sandy Hook to push their gun-grabbing agenda. First, I say, we must have an honest national conversation on mental health and the culture of violence coming out of Hollywood before they grab our guns. On immigration, we must secure the southern border with a 21st century fence and enforce all current immigration laws before we debate immigration reform. My friend Jeff Sessions recently corrected a White House assertion and pointed out the remarkable fact that only 36 of 700 miles of double-layered fence has even been built along the southern border. Now, I was pleased to see Paul Ryan defund Obamacare in his budget this week. Our anemic economy can't afford Obamacare, nor can the sick afford declining medical care. It must be every conservative's mission to defund Obamacare and move away from socialized medicine before it's fully implemented. So, 2013 is a challenge. It must be a year where we conservatives wage a two-pronged attack against President Obama and those forces in the Republican establishment who work to marginalize and hijack the conservative movement. We cannot rest. We must not rest. As conservatives, we all believe America is an exceptional nation. And we do not want our beloved nation to have the financial books of Greece nor the gun laws of China. But friends, I fear that that's the way we are headed if President Obama and his left-wing liberals go unchecked. The media is in the bag for this administration, and we all know it, which is why the grassroots of our movement must not sit on the sidelines. You must redouble your efforts, and together we must fight those who want to sell out our principles. Remember Reagan's three pillars of conservatism: free enterprise, strong national defense, and pro-family social policies. We must not cede these principles to President Obama on one hand or the Republican establishment on the other. The fight is in our hands. Let's unite for the cause of liberty and freedom. Thank you very much.
Here I am waiting, I'll have to leave soon. Why am I holding on?
All right, that's it for today. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. Don't forget to vote in the CPAC straw poll right out here or downstairs. And also there's this program tomorrow, apparently. I don't know why anyone would show up other than to see Scott Walker, Newt Gingrich, Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin, Mia Love, Ann Coulter, and Ted Cruz. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being a great audience.